Hello and welcome to the World Builder Basic Introduction tutorial for Company of Heroes. This is Jordan, aka Lolto. I'm a map maker for the Company of Heroes modification Europe in Ruins. Before we begin, hopefully these tutorials will be able to provide some help for the new mappers and showing them different techniques and ways to make maps. As a mapper for Europe in Ruins, I never have to worry about a base area for my maps, so don't expect me to show you how to do that. It's mostly going to be map design, balance, territory design as well. Yeah, alright, let's begin. If you're going to get into mapping, your first question is, where do I find it? Well, right here, C Program Files, THQ Company of Heroes. Wherever your Company of Heroes directory is at, usually the World Builder is in it right there. Very simple to find. Now to start, you're going to wonder, okay, I'm in the World Builder, what do I make my map size? Well, as you can see here, I already have a map open. Playable width, playable height, 256 by 256, terrain width and height, 416 by 416. Since you're new and you don't know what that means, there's this nifty little website to give you a rough example of what a good map size is. I'm sure you've played some of the stock relic maps here at this website. wiki.relicrank.com tells you the stock map sizes. For example, since you probably played them, you get a rough idea. So we're going to do a two-player map, for example, Angleville. Well, that's 256 by 256. So we'll go back into the World Builder now and see it's already set. When you're going to make a new map, it's always important to make the terrain height and width just a little bit bigger than the playable area, because otherwise your map just looks like a box and it does not look good. And just always make that a little bigger. Alright, so here we go. We're in the map builder. We're ready to go and start mapping. Basically, for map controls, you have the scroll wheel on your mouse to zoom in and out. Hold down the Alt key, move your mouse around to turn the camera, and the arrow keys to move the camera around. Alright, now that we have that under control. One of the first tools, the essential tools, is what I'm going to cover in this. I like to cover is the object placement. So while that loads, just give that a moment. You have to forgive my computer. It is slow, pretty slow. Alright, here we go, the object placement editor. Alright, most of your time in the object placement editor, you're going to be spending it under the eBPS directory. I believe the SBPS and visuals area are mainly for if you're doing cinematics in the World Builder, which is very difficult, and I have not gotten into that myself yet. So most of your time is going to be spent under here, eBPS, environment, and gameplay. Most of it under environment, under the art ambient and art nature areas. That's where you'll get all the objects you need for your maps and such. Gameplay wise will be for where you get your spawn points, your starting locations, things like that. So now let's place some buildings, for example. So we'll go to art ambient, we'll go to buildings, Normandy rural buildings. So here's a whole list of what you can choose from. I'll just select one, place it. It'll generate a building for me. This is just to introduce you to the basics. There's a building. Let's grab another one, just place it right there. Alright, now we have two buildings. So yeah, it's very simple. To move a building, you just left click it and just move it around. To rotate it, you click it, hold down shift, move the mouse left or right to rotate it. And if you want to move any object up or down, that's including buildings, you just hold down H, move the mouse up or down. So yeah, very simple. Just put that back there. Alright, we'll also go into nature, and we'll add some trees, like some oaks here and there, just to give the map some style, things like that. Alright. Now then, that's object placement. There's a lot to find in there in terms of your map objects. It's very simple to use. Most of your time is going to be spent under art ambient, art nature, and to make the map playable, gameplay. We'll come back to that. The next tool I'm going to cover is the height map editor. Now if you're starting off and it's your first map, then it's probably okay to avoid this, but if you want to add to your map some variety, then you can always come to this. It takes some time to get used to, and it's interesting. So here we go. We'll just we'll change the size to 17. There's two modes. I never change the second mode, the R&B mode. I just leave that at smoothing. It's always the LMB mode that I worry about. So right now we're additive, so that means we're going to add terrain, which means it's going to be like a big hill. So we'll start by adding a hill. We'll just click around. See, the hill's going up now. Very simple to use, but a little difficult to master. So here we go. We have this hill. Very simple. Doesn't look quite too good. So if I want to make it look more like a natural hill, I could always go into change the LMB mode to smoothing to smooth it out. So if I were to click now, the terrain would start to smooth out quite well. If I wanted to slow this down and be able to add to look into it more and be more specific with where I want to smooth the hill out, I could just change the strength over here like so to reduce the effect of the smoothing effect. So see, now it's a little slow. Gives you time to look at it and study it. So yeah, just smooth out the hill there. I'll just speed this up a little bit. Go back to 100. Alright, there we go. Got a little hill going on. The other tool, subtractive, and the LMB mode to make like a ditch if you want to. Change it around however you want. See, that was a ditch. Some holes in the ground. Just add some elevation to your map. It takes a long time to master, I believe, personally. There's lots of different things you can do with that. You can also have a set value, which comes in handy quite a bit right here. Third option under LMB mode, set value. Right now it's at 20, so if I were to just click here, there we go, we have a plateau. If I want to make it a little smaller, then just do that. I believe the default terrain height is 10. See right here where it says 15. So I believe the default is 10. So yeah, that's the height map editor. We'll move on to the next tool, the texture tile painting editor. So here we go. This whole map is just one giant texture right now. Alright. One thing I just remembered that I needed to cover was when you're making your map, you're going to wonder, since you have obviously a bigger terrain area than your playable area, well, it's very simple. You can find out where the playable area is by going to overlay and going all the way to toggle show playable area, and in this red box is where all the action will occur. So just a quick note. Back to the textures. So yeah, this is just one giant texture. If I wanted to change that, say to different grass, I could just click here and see it shows you what texture you already have selected as one of your layers. Well, if I wanted to change that to grass mixed 4, I can just make sure I have that highlighted, select grass mixed 4, press assign, voila, it's all changed. Alright, if I wanted to add another texture to my map, you simply select one that isn't checkmarked, let's say grass mixed 02, and you click this little button up here. I don't know what it says, but it adds another layer to your map. So if I just click that, there we go, we got another texture now. Now I can just select that, click anywhere I want, and there we go. We're adding another texture. Let's get something a little different. That works there. Now you can actually see it, hopefully. Alright, so yeah, just adding some texture, make a road, so to speak. Textures aren't very good for roads, but yeah, you get the point. If I want to make the texture blend in a little more, I can set the strength to a little less. See, it starts to blend in a little more. You can mess with that a little bit, things like that. Alright, so now we have two textures. I think that pretty much covers that. There's a lot of textures you can choose from in terms of what you want your map to look like. And yeah, it's probably good to not add too many textures to your map in terms of layers. Right here, it's probably best to keep that number as low as you can, but it's not really needed. I'd say probably a max of 7, 8. That's probably what I keep mine